A lot of people already know what they want to do, they're just not doing it. And I know a lot of people will argue with me on this. They're saying it's not that black and white. And you might even say, I generally don't know. I'm still just sort of figuring this thing out. But I bet you if somebody gave you $1 million right now and said, make the decision today, right now, I feel like you might know what you want to do. So the decision isn't what you're stuck on. It's really what you think that decision will make permanent about who you are. That's what you're stuck on. And I'm going to show you exactly how this works. And I'm also going to share this actually happened to me pretty recently. My name is Frances. I'm a licensed clinical therapist. I've been in the mental health field for, 20 plus years. And here's what I know. You already know what's keeping you stuck. You could probably explain it to someone else pretty easily, most likely in depth, but you can't seem to get yourself to act on it when it matters the most. And it's not a motivation issue, it's a pattern. And patterns are what I work with on this channel. All right, so most people think they're stuck because the decision is hard. And I'm not trying to downplay it. Sometimes decisions are hard. But when I work with people clinically, here's what I actually see. It's not that the decision isn't hard. It's usually what comes after the decision. Because at some point, we started treating decisions like identity markers that just don't come off. And if you, for example, choose this job, you're the kind of person who chooses that kind of job permanently. And so if you commit to this relationship, you're saying, this is who you are now forever. Or if you decide to join some sort of program, what you're doing is you're admitting that you need help, and that becomes a fact about you. So what usually happens for a lot of people, and maybe for you, you might stay in research mode, whatever the distraction is for you, because as long as you don't choose, you don't have to become anyone yet. You can still be the person that's just still figuring it out, still being thorough, cautious, careful, all those things. But here's what's actually happening. The research that you're doing, whatever distraction that you're doing isn't really helping you decide any quickly. What it's actually doing is giving you permission to delay. And I'm not judging that. I'm about to share a story where I was in that exact position. I'm just identifying it for what it is, because the cost of treating decisions as permanent is that nothing gets to unfold in your life. The version of yourself that you're trying to meet stays on the other side of a choice that you won't make. And if you just recognize yourself in that, if you just realized, wow, I've really been doing this. I actually made a quiz that shows you what your pattern is, your specific pattern, and what's keeping you looped there. It's free, takes about 2 to 3 minutes. The link is in the description below. But let me show you what this looked like when it happened to me. Even after all these years, y'all, I ain't exempt, because I literally watched myself doing the exact same thing. So a few months ago, I was in a furniture store in Thailand. My partner and I decided to make Thailand our home base. After traveling for what, 10 years, 6 years together, 4 years separate, and being nomadic, I was excited. I was like, okay, finally a real home, a place where things actually stay unpacked, right? No more living out of suitcases. And so I'm walking around the store, I'm taking photos of furnitures that we need, furniture pieces, couches, tables, chairs, the simple, boring stuff. And then I start to feel something. I feel this sort of panic, this a bit of anxiety, and my chest feels a little bit tight, right? And I start moving a little bit slower. And then my whole body feels like, listen, let's just get out of this place. And the only thought in my head was, I spent a decade rejecting this exact life. I built something different, right? Especially when it just wasn't a thing. And here I am buying the furniture that proves, at least the story in my head, that I went back. Again, I almost left the store. Obviously, it wasn't because of the furniture, right? It was because of what buying it would make true about me, that I couldn't sustain what I built over the years, that maybe somehow I failed at the thing that I made my identity, that the last 10 years didn't actually count because I was choosing something very different now. And so if I bought that couch, that version of me became permanent, almost the one who couldn't follow through on that old story, the one who went back to that life. And so that panic, again, had nothing to do with furniture. It was my body signaling something, maybe even trying to protect me from becoming someone I'd already decided not to be. So here's what I know from, again, working alongside people and obviously from my own experiences. We don't freeze, stall, or distract whatever your vice is when we need to decide. We do that because we've made the decision basically mean something about our identity that we're just not ready to face yet. And I've worked with people who do this, and they all have one thing in common. They're not afraid of making the wrong choice. Yes, on the surface, it may seem like that. They're really afraid of becoming the kind of person who made that specific choice. Because, once you choose, you're locked in. You're locked into being whoever chose that thing. And, if it doesn't work out, that confirms what you're afraid was true about yourself all along. So what happens is you don't choose. And everything that could come after that decision, the opportunities, the chances, the people you meet, it never gets to start. So here's what a decision actually is. It's not permanent. It's not a permanent statement about who you are. It's a choice about what fits, what resonates right now in this present, in this season that you're in, with all that you know today. And when it stops resonating, when it stops fitting into your life, guess what? You get to choose again. That job doesn't define you. It's just where you're working right now. The relationship that you commit to isn't your final answer. It's who you're choosing today. And frankly, when you're in relationships, it's a choice, right? Every day. The program you decide to join doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It just means that you're willing to try something different. And if any of it at some point stops working, stops resonating, guess what? Again, you can walk away. And that has nothing to do with failure. That's just what happens when you stop treating choices like they're carving your identity into stone. Here's the part that no one actually talks about. You're even doing this with the decision about whether to make decisions. You see that loop? Maybe you've made "I need more time to think" into a permanent identity. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to be a little bit careful. I need to be thorough, so I need to wait. I need to check one more thing. Maybe the one who doesn't rush because, you're just taking your time, you're taking it slow. But that's just another way of staying stuck. So if you've been sitting with a decision for weeks, months, some of you years, here's what's actually happening. The job that you won't apply for because what if it's not the right move? You're not keeping yourself safe from a bad job. You're keeping yourself safe from being the person who made that choice. The conversations that you keep avoiding because once I say it, I can't take it back. You're not avoiding the conflict. You're avoiding becoming the person who caused it. And maybe the program that you almost joined 3 times because, what if I don't actually follow through? You're not questioning the program. You're actually questioning whether you're the kind of person who follows through on things, who actually finishes things. This is the pattern. And as long as you're treating the decision as permanent, you're going to stay exactly where you are. And again, it's not because you can't decide. It's because you won't let yourself become whoever comes next. Like when that happened, and I had a conversation with my partner and I reflected a little bit and I talked to a few of my friends. I was like, Francis, this is out of hand. Just because you make this decision, it doesn't mean that you can't ever move. It doesn't mean that you can't get rid of the furniture. You could always sell it. It doesn't mean you can't break your lease if you need to. Like, you're not locked in. And I always think about this old school motivational speaker. His name is Jim Rohn. And he would always say, "You're not a tree. If you don't like it, move." Right? And it seems very simple, but it actually is that simple. The issue, again, is it's dealing with the decision afterwards, like I mentioned earlier. And when I realized that, when I reframed it in that way, I felt so much more at ease. And I was like, okay, then who am I going to become on this journey? Right? Because now I'm going to be in a place long term, get back into my routines. That's going to be a challenge. And it's about opening yourself up to those challenges because you're going to get something out of it. So here's what you need to hear. Turn this up, turn the volume up. You're allowed to choose something today and choose differently tomorrow when it no longer resonates. You're allowed to try things, adjust them, walk away when they're complete. The decision you make doesn't lock you into being that person forever. It just opens a door that you actually can't see from where you are. A door that actually shows you who you could become when you stop treating every choice like it defines you permanently. So take the quiz that I made. It'll show you what your nervous system is actually trying to keep you safe from when you freeze, distract, or stall at any decision point. The links in the description below. And then comment below. Let me know, what decision are you treating as permanent right now that actually isn't? Let us know. Just say it out loud. Sometimes just saying it out loud kind of helps, you know, reduce the intensity. And in the next video, I'm going to break down why knowing all of this still doesn't change the pattern. You're like, come on now, Francis. Because oftentimes we think having a lot of insight is the key. Like when we understand why, when we have all the context, will help us get unstuck. Insight alone doesn't get you unstuck, doesn't always lead to change. Okay, so do me a favor. If you appreciated the message in this video and it resonated, like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone you think who needs to hear this message. And I'll see you on the other side of change. Thank you for watching.